everyone. Welcome to Shell Point today for the weekend of March 11th, 12th, and 13th. I'm Adam Brown. On today's show, we'll learn about the upcoming Medical Breakthroughs and Discoveries seminar on Alzheimer's disease with Jeff Cory and Dr. Shaerf. Also, we'll recap the top stories from all of this week. But first, don't forget to join the walking club as they go to the FGCU campus on Saturday. With 400 acres of environmental preserve, it's the perfect place to get some exercise and enjoy the scenery that is home to various wildlife. If you are able to walk either 3 or 5 miles, then call Jerry Bishop at 822-5608 to sign up. On Saturday, you can take in a movie at the Grand Cypress Room, either at 2 or 7 p.m. Bridge of Spies, a 2015 film starring Tom Hanks, takes place during the Cold War when the Soviet Union captures a U.S. pilot after shooting down his U-2 spy plane. Sentenced to 10 years in prison, the pilot's only hope is a lawyer, played by Hanks, to negotiate his release. Don't miss this exciting drama on Saturday. Looking ahead to next week, on Monday evening, there will be a concert and conversations event as part of the Music in Motion concert series. The DuPont String Quartet will perform in the Grand Cypress Room at 7 p.m. This quartet, consisting of 2 violins, a cello, and a viola, have performed across North America and Europe, including Carnegie Hall. They perform more than 70 concerts a year in their home state of Maine, and in 2014 they were voted Best Music Group there. Come hear their beautiful music and enjoy refreshments and conversation on Monday. Tickets are available online or by calling 454-2067. And now it's time to get a preview of what to expect at next week's Medical Breakthroughs and Discoveries seminar on Alzheimer's disease. Jeff Cory of the Legacy Foundation sits down with Dr. Fred Shaerf from the Neuropsychiatric Research Center of Southwest Florida to find out more.
Hi, I'm Jeff Cory from the Legacy Foundation here at Shell Point, and I'm joined today by Dr. Fred Shaerf from the Neuropsychiatric Center of Southwest Florida. Dr. Fred, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to see you again. I know you spent a lot of time here at Shell Point, and we're so grateful for the services you provide to our residents. And we're talking today a little bit about an upcoming seminar, talking about Alzheimer's and treatment and care, some of the latest advances in research. Can you give us a little idea about what you'll be talking about on that day?
Well, sure, and it's quite an honor to come back here and talk about this epidemic, because obviously we are faced with it, and we probably are at ground zero in Southwest Florida and Shell Point with the potential of this disease. So hopefully we're going to be talking about how the demographics have really put it together for this area to have this devastating disease, but also the incredible opportunities that are around, including clinical trials, including breakthroughs that happened in 2015 that we've been involved with.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the advances in research? I mean, I think our residents are always looking for some hope. A lot of us have been touched by family members with the suffering with Alzheimer's. And can you give us a little idea about what are some of the latest and greatest advances in Alzheimer's research?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is that many people have heard this before, but we've learned more about the brain in the last 10 years than in the last 1,000 years. And what we've really learned is that Alzheimer's disease is complicated, but also I think there's been some great advances. In 1906, Alois Alzheimer identified plaques and tangles as the real cause. We now know what those plaques and tangles are composed of. And in 2015, a pharmaceutical company named Biogen, and we were involved with those trials, showed for the first time that clearing the plaques with monoclonal antibodies stopped the progression of the disease. And that was a real groundbreaker, because hundreds of trials have failed previously. So now there may be something that can stop the progression.
What exactly causes Alzheimer's? And I mean, are there some telltale signs that you look for in a person when they're first diagnosed?
Well, it's interesting. This disease actually starts 20 to 30 years before you have a symptom. And it's caused by many factors, but it seems to be fundamentally an accumulation of abnormal proteins in the brain of people that are susceptible. And that causes brain cells to die. But the problem is that we all have cognitive reserves, so it slowly is working its way through your brain, killing brain cells, but you don't have any symptoms. That's why we're so vigorous about early detection and testing in your 40s and 50s.
Tell us a little bit more about your research center. I know we've had a number of residents here through the years that have been part of a clinical trial. Tell us a little bit about what a clinical trial involves and how much time a person has to dedicate to that process.
Well, I've been very blessed by putting together a team of individuals that are totally dedicated to this disease, and we've been doing trials for about 20 years. So a clinical trial, every medicine that we use in the United States, when you go to the drugstore with a prescription, has been part of a clinical trial because we demand in the United States the highest standard, that it proves in a placebo-controlled, double-blind trial that it really does work. And since the placebo effect, your grandmother's chicken noodle soup for your cold, has up to a 40 to 50% chance of improving you, that's the placebo effect. These trials really have to prove with large numbers of individuals that what you're doing is separating from placebo. So we have these trials available. We have all kinds of trials for individuals that are in different stages of disease, that have different medical problems that we try to fit into a trial. And it really gives people the opportunity to do something that they can't get anywhere else. And there's also, interestingly, studies that show that just participating in a trial, no matter what you get, even placebo, improves people.
Well, we're very fortunate here in the Fort Myers area to have a world-class facility and operation like you have that we can benefit from. I mean, is the word cure, is that something for Alzheimer's that is a pipe dream at this point? Do you see something coming down in the near future?
I mean, as we all know, President Obama started an Alzheimer's initiative in 2010, and he was talking about finding a cure by 2025. I think that's a very optimistic type of goal. I think the realization, though, is that since this disease starts early, since African Americans and Hispanics get the disease twice as much as non-African Americans, and we know why. They get the disease because they have 4 modifiable risk factors that aren't very well treated: hypertension, diabetes, hypercholesterolemia, and heart disease. So we now know that those things are things we need to take care of early. We know that exercise is important. We know that protecting your head is important. So we're into a prevention stage as well as just clinical trials. Educating people of how important it is to protect your brain early, because it can have profound effects later on.
So things like brain games, or I mean, we've always said here at Shell Point, keeping your mind active is something that keeps you young and vibrant, and so those are the sorts of things.
So staying young, vibrant, active, brain games certainly can help. They certainly don't prevent the onset of this disease, and there's no data to support it, but we think that's helpful. But having all the active lifestyle issues like exercise, having interactions with other human beings, hobbies, painting, music, those kind of things are really ultimately so important in keeping a brain healthy.
We have lots of residents that are caregivers, supporting a loved one who has Alzheimer's or dementia. Do you have some helpful tips for those sorts of folks that need some encouragement to how to handle the disease and the progression, both psychologically, socially, spiritually?
Well, they unfortunately are carrying the burden, and as we know, most of those individuals are women. So women really have an unfair burden with both having more Alzheimer's disease than men, and also being the caregivers for people with Alzheimer's disease. So it's so important to get the services that you can get some time off, don't get burned out, take advantage of what's available here at Shell Point, the Alzheimer's Association, those kind of efforts, and know that you can't be a good caregiver if you yourself are suffering.
Sure. Well, we appreciate you coming out today, Dr. Shaerf, and we're going to be a part of our Medical Breakthrough and Discovery series here at Shell Point. We've had 4 this year, very well attended, and we could not do something that did not include Alzheimer's and memory care. It touches so many lives here at Shell Point. So we're happy to have you out on March 17th at the Village Church, and I hope all of our residents will come out to learn more about Alzheimer's, a cure, what's new in research and things. And so we appreciate you being with us today, Dr. Shaerf.
Well, thank you so much for the partnership and the opportunity.
And now let's take a look at today's happenings, Academy News, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hello and welcome to the Happening segment, weekend edition of Shell Point TV. I'm Caitlin Fanscoy.
And I'm Bev Chandley.
And we're going to give you all the activities for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We start Friday morning bright and early at 8 o'clock with men's match play tennis at the Woodlands. And 8:15 is the time for stamp ministry. They'll be in the stamp room on the island. The Friday marketplace will be in the administration courtyard from 8:30 to 11:30. And 9 o'clock is the time for canasta and samba. They'll be meeting in the common second floor lobby of the Woodlands. Men's match play tennis will occur at 10 o'clock at the Woodlands tennis courts. And the Veterans Club meeting will be in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands at 10 a.m. Genealogy will be meeting at 10:15 in the Osprey Room on the island. And Inquiring Minds will be meeting in the Manatee Room at 10:15. The Suzy Q heads out at 10:30 to the Lighthouse Restaurant or Tiki Bar. That's sign-up required. We move to the afternoon for Mixed Progressive Bridge in the Game Room of the Woodlands at 12:30. And 12:45 is the time for Zumba Fitness in the Tarpon Room. At 1:15, Quilters will be meeting in the Osprey Room. And the Model Train Room will be open for complimentary tours and viewing from 1:30 to 3:30. Vespers will be in the Community Room of the Arbor at 1:30. And at 1:45, Advanced Table Tennis will be in the Tarpon Room. At 2 o'clock, Big Euchre will be played at the Woodlands Sable Room. And come out for water volleyball at the LifeQuest Aquatic Center at 2:15. We have Vespers at 2:30 in the Community Room of King's Crown. And at 3 o'clock, we have ballroom line dancing in the Tarpon Room. Our last Vespers of the day is at the Springs at 3:30. At 6:45, we have Resident Game Night in the Resident Activity Center. And at 7:15, we have the Sanibel Big Arts Concert Band. They'll be playing at the Village Church. Here's Bev to tell you all about our Saturday.
Thank you, Caitlin. Saturday starts out with an 8 o'clock pickleball game down at the game courts behind the Resident Activity Center. Also at 8 o'clock, we have round-robin doubles tennis down at the Woodlands. And another 8 o'clock activity is the Shell Point Walking Club. They're going to be meeting at the administration courtyard for their outing. At 9:30, men's and women's doubles tennis will be going on at the tennis courts. And we have duplicate bridge played in the Manatee Room on the island at 9:45. At 10:15, the Model Yacht Sailing Club will be sailing their boats at the Garden Apartment Pond on the island. Continuing into the afternoon, we have a 1 o'clock chess game at the Library Lounge. At 2 o'clock, we have our Saturday DVD playing Bridge of Spies, a 2015 film with Tom Hanks. That'll be in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. At 3:15, we have basic line dancing in the Tarpon Room down in the tunnel. And we have a second showing of our Saturday DVD at 7 o'clock, Bridge of Spies. That'll be in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. Now here's Caitlin to tell you Sunday's activities.
Thank you, Bev. Today starts daylight savings, so make sure you adjust your clocks. We start Sunday morning off at 9 o'clock with Christian Life Studies in the Game Room of the Woodlands and also at the Village Church. At 10:15, the morning worship will be held at the Village Church. It's also broadcast live on Shell Point TV, Channel 13. We move all the way to 3:30 for the Sunday Golf Mixer. That will be held at the Shell Point Golf Club. And 4:15 is the time for a Latin-sized dance group. They'll be in the Tarpon Room. That's all we have for the weekend. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Friday and the weekend. On Friday, March 11th at 10:15, we have an iPad, iPhone, Mac free walk-in clinic in the Technology Teaching Center of the island. On Sunday, March 13th, we begin a 3-session program, A Gift to Shell Point for the Lenten season from the Village Church. It begins at 6:15 Sunday in the evening. It is called the Easter Jesus and the Good Friday Church. Now let me tell you what's coming up next week in the Academy. On Monday, the 14th of March, we have the second session of the Easter Jesus and the Good Friday Church. This is with Gregory Athnos, Professor Emeritus at North Park University in Chicago. On Tuesday, we continue the series, the Easter Jesus and the Good Friday Church, Session 3 with Gregory Athnos, Professor Emeritus at North Park University in Chicago. On Wednesday, we have local efforts to combat human sex trafficking in Southwest Florida and in the United States. This is part 2, and we will feature Carolyn Gullett, founder and CEO of New Life Oasis Incorporated, and Yarel Garcia, and a local survivor. On Thursday, the 17th of March, we have an iPhone Basic Apps class Messages app with Bruce Findlay of Sundial. And the story of Pakistan and Afghanistan continues with Professor Adrian Keir. On Friday, March 18th, we have Salute to Shakespeare 2016 with Roy Boyce of Parkwood, and this time it's The Tragedies. On the 19th of March, Saturday, we have legendary Cleopatra, Fact versus Fiction with Professor Adrian Keir, and a few people who have signed up will be having lunch with the professor.
Menus for your weekend. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter on Friday is salmon tacos with Spanish brown rice and jicama salad. The dinner special is the seafood buffet for $17.95. The soup of the day is split pea. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Friday, the special is a seafood schooner on an English muffin with chips for $7.75. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Friday are Colorado lamb chops for $22.95. Or Nantucket baked cod for $18.95. On Saturday, the Crystal Room is closed. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Saturday, the special is pulled pork sandwiches with coleslaw for $7.75. The dinner special is chicken artichoke with mashed potatoes and mixed vegetables for $8.75. In the Palm Grill on Saturday, you can have prime rib for $20.95. And on Sunday, the Crystal Room features a Sunday brunch for $17.50. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Sunday, the special is fresh fruit with cottage cheese, sliced tomato, and a hamburger patty for $7.75. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.75. And the Palm Grill is closed on Sundays. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, it's me again, Randy Woods here at the Village Church. And it's Friday. And it's not only spring break weekend, but it's Spring Ahead weekend. That's right, this is the weekend that we turn our clocks ahead and then go to bed very early on Saturday night, so that we can get up early Sunday morning, because it's going to be a very special celebration. It is going to be the Spring Break Festival of Sacred Song here at the Village Church, Sunday morning at 10:15. As I've mentioned earlier this week, we are going to be welcoming several students here at the Village Church to share in the ministry of song. We have about 40 students coming from the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. It'll be the Moody Chorale under the direction of Dr. Xian Hong. As she comes with her students, we will also join forces with the chamber singers from Franklin and Marshall College in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, under the direction of Dr. Bill Wright. He has about 20 students, the Moody Chorale about 40 students, plus the 100 voices of the Village Church Choir. And we will share together, all three of us conductors, with our resources, allowing each choir to sing separately and together. You'll hear traditional anthems, you'll hear chants, as well as contemporary sacred music and traditional hymns. There'll be a lot of opportunity for you to participate with the congregation and choirs singing together a grand doxology of praise to the glory of God. So join us Sunday morning here at the Village Church at 10:15. There's no cost. Just come and enjoy this time with the students, your friends and neighbors, as we worship together. And then Sunday evening, we begin the lecture series by Professor Gregory Athanas. And as he is speaking as part of this Academy presentation, you'll want to come and be part of this presentation, The Easter Jesus and the Good Friday Church. This is the beginning of a three-part Academy class, Sunday night at 6:15, and then Monday and Tuesday. The times and places are indicated in your weekly reminder, as well as the church bulletin and in the latest issue of Shell Point Life. So it's going to be a big day. It's spring break. The students are coming. The professor is here. I trust that you will join us at the Village Church this weekend as we continue to celebrate God's goodness in our community.
And now it's time to recap the top stories from earlier this week. It's time once again for the annual Library Fund Drive. The library's primary commitment is to meet the personal reading, listening, viewing, and daily newspaper needs of Shell Point residents. It's self-sustaining and depends on contributions during this annual event to keep the library up to date with complete resources to meet the needs of our community. To give us more insight, volunteer coordinator Beth Crenshaw spoke with the library's president and vice president.
Hello, Shell Point. My name is Beth Crenshaw. I am the volunteer coordinator here with Resort Services. Today we're at the Shell Point Library. I am joined by two of the main players here at the library. I've got Fran Ippenson, the president of the library, and Mary Richard, vice president of the library. And Mary is also the chairperson for the annual library fund drive. Fran, can you tell us a little bit more about the library, maybe some history and some facts?
The library was formed 44 years ago, and we have in the library 8,000 items that are available for the residents of Shell Point. And as far as we know, we have the largest library of any resident facility in the country. And we also have available a variety of items. We have large print and regular print books. We have CDs, DVDs, audiobooks, and even some children's books. The library is open 7 days a week, from Monday through Saturday. It's open from 9:30 to 3:30, and on Sunday it's open from 2 to 4. All volunteers, even the librarian is a volunteer.
I also want to comment on where we're located for newcomers to the Shell Point Library. We are located in the Resident Activity Center on the island, on the main floor, near the Osprey Room, near the Library Lounge, and actually we're over the Health Center. So that's where we can be found the 7 days a week. We have once a month, there's a book talk, which is headed by one of our residents who offers their time to describe the book. And there's always refreshments after that, a library book talk. We have other services. We have a website on Shell Point website. You go under the info tab, and then it will scroll down to library, and you'll see what, if you're looking for a particular book, if we have it or not. We have many services. Probably the funnest service is that we have candy at the checkout desk in the main library. That seems to be a very popular thing.
I'm sure it is.
Besides that, on a more literary note, you can call us at the library to reserve or renew an item. You don't have to come in to do it. We call you when a book is available for pickup. We have back here a library returns box where you can drop off your items in the hours during the time that the library is not open, which is very convenient for you. If you have guests staying at the guest house, they can get a card from the guest house desk and take books out of the library. And if your visitors are little kids, we have quite an extensive children's section of the library. So there's a little bit, there's a lot for everyone. We have a monthly notice that comes out in the weekly reminder and is available on the library desk of the new acquisitions that we made for that month. So there's a lot of new things going on and keeping you up to date.
I might make a comment about the new acquisitions. We get 60 new items in every month, and items that we pull from the library because maybe they're not older or maybe they haven't been taken out very often are the items that go on our book sale.
All right,
So
and you just had that in...
And we just had that in January.
In January,
and it was
okay.
quite successful.
That's great. So how does the library provide the residents with all of these wonderful resources?
The library is totally funded by resident donations. It's totally staffed by residents, but totally funded by resident donations. And that brings us to the annual fund drive, which is happening from March 9th to March 23rd, a 2-week span. Every resident will receive in their internal mailbox a letter that includes an envelope, which you can use to return your contribution. And you can drop those off at either through your internal mail or at any of the service desks on the island or at the Woodlands. We even have we will have a box here in the library too if you want to come to the library and drop it off there. Your contribution is tax deductible, and you will receive a written acknowledgement of that for tax purposes. So every year, the residents have been so generous to keep this library going and active and current. So we're hoping that, we're believing that the residents will be just as generous this year as they have been in the past.
Great. Thank you so much, Mary.
You're welcome.
Do you have anything to add to that, Fran?
I think Mary covered it very well.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and we hope that you participate in the fund drive this year.
For your convenience, the Transportation Department has added a new bus route Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. due to rider increase. It's called the Green Bus Route, and Transportation Manager Diane Morton was delighted this week to give us more information.
Hello, Shell Point. My name is Cheryl, and welcome to the Green Route.
Hi, my name's Diane Morton. I'm the Transportation Manager for Shell Point Retirement Community. I'm here to talk to you about our latest bus route. It is called the Green Route. After tracking the ridership of our Blue Route, administration decided to add another bus that will run Monday through Fridays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It is called the Green Route. And we have decided to add that because we have been keeping stats on the Blue Route and the ridership has increased. Thus, we want to accommodate the residents in a more timely manner, so we have added an additional route to supply that service Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Of course, if we have an event at the Village Church, we will always and continually add services and buses and drivers for those events, such as Easter Sunday. We will have additional buses running because we know we will have a higher volume of ridership. To obtain a copy of the newest route, simply go to the Woodland Service Desk or the Island Service Desk, or you can go on to shellpoint.net and it will be posted there. As with anything, we have to adapt to change. When we get the clubhouse on board in the fall, we will also revise our transportation schedule, and that will be incorporated on both the Blue and Green Route as well. So again, the new route is called the Green Route. It will run Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I hope to see you soon, either riding the Blue or the Green Route. Thank you very much.
With the nicer weather we're having now, it's a great motivation to get out those golf clubs and head over to the greens. To tell us more about the Sunday golf mixers that happen each weekend through April, here again is Chris Ewing from Shell Point Golf and Mary Kay Grimaldi.
All right, so you want to grip it right there, and then you want to make sure you line that line up to the hole and swing away. All right, good attempt, almost.
Well, we're here at the Shell Point Golf Club today, and we're with Chris Ewing, who's going to tell us a little bit about the Sunday mixers coming up every Sunday through April. 3:30 p.m. shotgun start on the scramble. Chris, tell us some about it.
Yes, thanks, Mary Kay. Our Sunday Mixer event is a weekly event we hold here at Shell Point for our Shell Point Golf Club members. It's a fun event that's 9 holes in the afternoon. As Mary Kay said, it starts at 3:30. We do a shotgun format, which is a very friendly format. It's a low stress, fun environment. So we take golfers from all skill levels and they can play in this event and not feel stressed out about having to play too well because they have some team members. The great thing about our mixer here at Shell Point is you get an opportunity to meet some new and your fellow Shell Point Golf Club members. A lot of our husbands and wives as couples sign up, but we split them apart for the afternoon and we have them play with other players. That way they get a chance to meet some new people while they're out there playing golf. And hopefully during the week, maybe they get together and play as couples and get their own tee time. So the Sunday Mixer is a great way to do that. It's also a good way to get out on the golf course and enjoy the beautiful afternoon weather we have here in Southwest Florida. And the golf course is in phenomenal shape for everybody to come out and play. So if you'd like to come out and join the mixer, we invite you to stop by the golf shop. We have a sign-up sheet located there. It's there until Saturday afternoon. You can also call us in the golf shop and we'll be more than happy to sign you up to play on Sunday. We put all the pairings together on Sunday morning and then we give everybody a phone call and an email letting them know who they're playing with and what hole they're starting on as it is a shotgun start. So you're going to start on a couple of different holes as we go out and play. So we look forward to seeing you out at the Sunday Mixer here at Shell Point and check in the golf shop to sign up.
Thank you all. We see you there. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi reporting from the Shell Point Golf Club.
Recently, the Aviation Club here at Shell Point took a field trip to RSW Airport. They had a rare opportunity to get an inside look at the airport tower and the Terminal Radar Approach Control facilities known as TRACON. Dan Filgreen, being the aviation aficionado that he is, was happy to tag along and captured the exciting tour.
The Aviation Club had a trip to the airport in September, and one of the speakers that we had for that special trip was the air traffic control manager at RSW. And in the course of our questioning him, he said, well, you'll just have to come out and see how we do it. So I jumped on that real quick and I said, okay, when would you like us to come? And I was surprised that he even was willing to have a group come, because I know that security is so tight at the airport now. But he seemed very willing to have our group come, so I contacted him later and made the arrangements so that we could come. And we really enjoyed it. It was a wonderful trip today.
The people were very friendly. We got to see lots of different parts of it.
Well, it was a great tour. We were so privileged to get to do this. It's not easy to get into a tower these days, and Joe Klink and our team made it happen, so we're really thankful.
We got to go up to the tower and see planes take off and land, and also see the instrumentation that the gentlemen who are running the tower were tracking things coming in and talking to them. And then we went down to TRACON, which was the radar.
Really grateful for the opportunity to do this. I'm not an aviator, but I've always been really interested in it. To be able to see this is a real privilege.
They took time to answer questions. We didn't feel rushed. I felt like I was almost in a college professor's classroom with hands-on experience. We got to watch one of the control tower operators get cleared in another level of certification. That was pretty exciting. It was altogether worth coming to.
It was amazing. They let us stay in the tower for 15 or 20 minutes and no rush. Explained everything, every question that we had, and all were very personable folks. And so I enjoyed it immensely.
It was a very interesting tour. I mean, I've been flying for a lot of years, and I've been in a lot of towers before, on and off, Kennedy, LaGuardia, Newark. But it's just, I hadn't been in one in 25, 30 years, so it's kind of interesting to go back and see it again, and very pleasant and relaxing and enjoyable experience.
And this has been very enjoyable for me, because I did this for about 40 years off and on, and through various levels of facilities. So to me, it was really enjoyable to see the advancements of the equipment and the stuff that they've got to work with that we could only imagine and dream of when we were young. Of course, it's something to see, and I really appreciate the fact that I'm able to see this, and I know I'm going to thank the facility manager and those in the Shell Point that have spent the time in putting this tour together. I really thank you a lot.
Really fascinated by this tour. The thing I couldn't believe is how young some of those controllers are, but that's just showing our age, I'm afraid. These people are here to help, and they take an enormous responsibility to keep us all safe. And this was, I think, a chance of a lifetime for us to have access to this facility.
When we got here, I didn't recognize the facility manager, but when I saw how his name was spelled, it kind of looked familiar, and we got to speaking with him, and when I heard how his name was pronounced, I realized that I had worked with his father. And he has an older brother that I was a young trainee that I worked with when I was a journeyman controller, so it kind of made me feel a little older.
We had the opportunity to visit the Kansas City Tower several years ago, and we were very happy to be able to visit this and see all of the improvements that have been made technologically. It was a great chance to see how many improvements have been made over a period of time.
it's nice to see the quality of people and equipment on this end of it when you depend on them all the time.
And as rather frequent flyers, I think we will be very reassured flying into RSW because they're certainly well controlled and right up to the minute.
Speaking of aircraft, we have a very cool and useful device to capture footage of our beautiful community from the sky. The construction of the Shell Point Clubhouse has been a great opportunity to utilize our aerial camera system, or drone. This week, we were able to show you the progression of the building project as it rises from the ground. Anna Smith of Finemark Bank talked to us about the importance of good record keeping this week. With tax season upon us now, this is the perfect time to get organized.
Hello, I'm Anna Smith. Managing Executive of FineMark Bank on the island. In today's FineMark Minute, we are discussing the importance of good record-keeping system. It's important to make sure vital documents and records are easily accessible if necessary. This can save time and money during an unexpected tax audit or during the estate planning process. But not all documents need to be stored in the same location and for the same period of time. Here are some suggestions on where to keep your important documents. In your safe box, keep things like birth certificate, CDs, death certificates, vehicle titles, and IRA papers. Other documents you may want to keep in a fireproof box at home include your living will, medical power of attorney, trust documents, and wills. And you may want to consider keeping certain documents with an attorney or trusted relative. Those include burial instructions, financial and medical power of attorney, and your living will. In general, you want to keep physical copies of anything related to state or federal matters, including certifications, licenses, or deeds. Next, there are documents you need to keep for a while. You should keep tax records and receipts for 7 years. Pay stubs and bank statements hold for a year. Also, medical records and bills keep at least 1 year, along with warranties. Finally, the last group are the documents where you only need to keep the most recent version of your Social Security statements, annual insurance statements, and retirement plan statements. If you have any questions, please give us a call at 461-5999 or stop by the bank on the island. With today's FineMark Minute, I'm Anna Smith.
The Academy of Lifelong Learning is presenting a special 3-session seminar entitled The Easter Jesus and the Good Friday Church, Reclaiming the Centrality of the Resurrection. It will cover the art of the Roman catacombs, how the resurrection changed the disciples' expectations of the Messiah, and the resurrection through the book of Acts and in the epistles of Paul. The seminar is drawn from Dr. Greg Athnos's exploration of the art produced by the early church during a time of intense persecution. Pastor Andy Hawkins of the Village Church told us more of what to expect from Greg's seminar.
Hello, I'm Terry Kolath, and I'm here today with Pastor Andrew Hawkins, Senior Pastor of our Village Church. And we're talking about yet another collaboration with the Village Church and the Academy of Lifelong Learning. Thank you for joining me, Pastor Andy.
My pleasure.
Well, gift after gift comes to us from the Village Church, no doubt about it. And I am so grateful when we have an opportunity to collaborate. We've had a couple opportunities lately.
We have.
This one, we talked about it at the very beginning as a Lenten gift, and it certainly is.
That's right. That's right.
Why are you bringing this to us?
Well, Professor Gregory Athnos is a professor emeritus at North Park University up in Chicago. But it's interesting, he's made sort of a second career of exploration of various dimensions of the art world, in particular the art of the early church, much of which is found, of course, in the catacombs of Europe. And it was interesting as he began to explore these things, he recognized something that to him was a startling kind of, I think, almost an epiphany. Because, you know, you're exploring art and you're in the catacombs, you're in the places of death and all that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But what he was discovering was that overwhelmingly the art of the catacombs had to do with the resurrection rather than with the crucifixion of Christ. And so his thesis that he began to develop, and it was confirmed over and over again by the data that he collected, and then when he went to the scriptures to sort of look at things as well, helped him to recognize, I think, that the church has sort of misbalanced the crucifixion and the resurrection in some measure, that we've de-emphasized over the centuries the significance of the resurrection, and the early church was rooted in that extraordinary hope in the risen Christ, even though they were a persecuted and an oppressed kind of church. And so he's put this kind of thing together in a way that not only has he written a book about it, but also he's presented all over the world in ways that have been enthusiastically received, in which he tells this story, connects it with the scriptures, connects it with the history that he's unfolded, with the artwork that he's engaged in, art investigation that he's engaged in. And so it's really one of the most fascinating sort of combinations of his academic work as well as the spiritual dimension of the significance of the resurrection for the early church.
And how hopeful for us, and what a wonderful time to look at it. Thus your title, The Easter Jesus and the Good Friday Church.
That's exactly right. And that's, of course, not my title. That's the title of his book and the overarching series. Now, he really has 3 sessions in this series. The first one begins on the Sunday evening service of the village church, to which, of course, Academy people are invited. You don't have to go to the village church to come to that. That's at 6:15. That'll be the introductory session. And then he has another session on Monday, which will also be held at the village church at 10:15 in the morning. And then he has another session on Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the Grand Cypress Room. And they all are complementary with each other. In other words, there's not the same session repeated 3 times. They all relate to each other and are sequential in that nature. I'm sure that each one of them stands alone and is valuable in their own right. But it's the kind of thing that people who have it in their schedule to be able to go to all 3 certainly should be encouraged to do so, because I think it'll be a fascinating, intellectually stimulated, spiritually uplifting kind of program.
Doesn't get better than that.
That's correct.
Isn't it kind of, aren't we the epitome here of people who develop second interests? Mm-hmm. And it's very, very likely that many of us, as we're living longer, will discover a passion for something and develop it into the future. And that's the most rewarding part of being part of Shell Point, I think, is seeing how people are discovering new things, and then to have such a wonderful example of that come right to us.
Yeah, he's evidently quite a remarkable and extraordinary presenter, but you're exactly right about this is the kind of thing that it's not really what he worked at the university when he was doing these things. But his imagination was captured, and of course he was in the arts in the first place, but not so much in the visual arts. But this has captured his attention, and something that he has loved, and then shared that love with many other people in several continents in the presentations that he's made, the book that he's written. And so I'm looking forward to it with great interest.
Sure, and as we approach Good Friday and Easter, what a wonderful reminder of the joy of Easter.
That's exactly right.
What a surprise it must have been for him.
I think so.
Oh, it's
absolutely.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
And we're going to look forward to hearing him tell his own story, of course.
We are.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Pastor Andy. And thank you to the Village Church. Don't miss the opportunity to accept this Lenten gift, this very timely Lenten gift, and attend all 3 sessions, if you're able, of FLL 38, the Easter Jesus, and the Good Friday Church.
And that's going to bring this weekend edition of Shell Point Today to a close for March 11th, 12th, and 13th. We want to thank you for joining us today, and on behalf of the entire SPTV staff, we wish everyone watching a safe and wonderful rest of your weekend, and we look forward to seeing you again Monday.